Canines are our passion. They are our addiction. They are our way of life, right down to the very core. And without them, we would be lost. The canines of this world really are something to behold. They assist us at work. They accompany us at home. And they perform for us in the field. No matter where we go, they are by our side. Canines really are a ride or die, and for that, we are grateful. This podcast will showcase working canines of various breeds and disciplines as we search for those canines and their handlers who are always striving to be the best at what they do. Those who are always grinding. Those who are always pushing the limits. Those who are always dogging. Join us on our adventures as it is sure to be a wild ride. I'm your host, Bryce Matthews.
And I'm your co-host, Steven Basham.
And this is Semper Doggin. Welcome to another episode of Semper Doggin. Guys, I am your host, Bryce Matthews, and today we are joined, as always, by Mr. Steven Basham. How are you, buddy?
I'm making it. How about yourself, bub?
Well, I'm doing a little bit better than you are. Just a little bit.
I would say so.
But you're doing better than the guest that we were supposed to have on here. At least you've got a little bit of power. Our guest, guys, we're not going to spoil it. We're gonna have him on here another time, but he was supposed to join us from down in Virginia, and he ain't got nothing. He's no power, no nothing. The ice and snowstorm hit them and wiped them out.
Man, you would think him being him. I mean, I don't have nothing, and yet I have something because I refuse to live with nothing.
Yeah.
So I got enough ingenuity that. Right now we have no power, but I have my whole house operational.
You do, and we're going to talk about that a little bit. So, like, guys, this is going to be just right off the bat. Like I said, our guest that we had tonight got hit by the storms. He's out. So we're going to have to do a little improvising here. We're going to talk some dogs, but we're also going to talk just a little bit of life lessons because Basham has taught me something here the last day. And, I think it's cool to talk about and learn, and maybe somebody else can benefit from it one day. But, yeah. All right, so fill me in on what you've been doing the last couple weeks, because we know it's been a while since we've had a Semper Doggin episode. We had the New Year, we had Christmas, we had the New Year's, we had everything going on. It's been a while since you and I have talked on here, so fill me in. What's happening?
First and foremost, hey, happy 1 year anniversary for us.
Hey-o.
Yes, sir. 1 year anniversary for Semper Doggin. Hey, guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Everywhere I go, I actually went to a doubleheader down in Morgantown on Saturday, and a guy showed up from Russellville and didn't know him from Adam, and we were sitting there signing up, and he said, hey, man, I really want to tell you how much I enjoy yours and Bryce's podcast. He said, I'm usually in the truck about 2 to 3 hours a day. And he said, every chance I get, I'm turning on your podcast and listening to it. And so everywhere I go, we're getting, people are liking it. They're liking the content. What most people tell me they like about it is the raw, how it's just two buddies just sitting on here talking with there's no script. We're just like any other Smojo out there, and,
Smojo, huh? A Smojo? What about a Joe Schmo?
Nope. My granny used to call it a Smojo. My granny called it Smojo. So in my life, that's what I call it. But, you got to keep those traditions going. But, yeah, hey, I want to thank Bryce. He kind of does a lot more with this Semper Doggin than I do, just from the technical aspect of it. When we record, he's the one that edited it. He's the one that gets it put on. So I just sit here and talk, and that's about it. But he's the man behind the scenes that kind of edits everything. So big shout out to you, Bryce. Thank you, bud. And definitely as far as goals for Semper Doggin, I'd like to, and I know that you're on this too, guys. Me and Bryce have just been slammed lately, but I'd like to reinvigorate ourselves, get motivated again about it, and to really hash out some good podcasts. My goal for this year is kind of like what I told you before. I really want to get to those clubs. I kind of mentioned it on Doggin Tuesday that I jumped on real quick, not very long. I really want to get to the clubs this year, and I want to record those untold stories from the older generation and really record those, really get down and dirty with those. And so that's my personal goal for Semper Doggin this year. What's yours?
Man, I would like to tell some of those stories too, and I don't know the best way to do it. I've got a couple ideas, but I guess like the number one goal would be, and some people are going to love this and some people are going to hate it, but I want to step away from the coon hunt a little bit, like branch out, Yep. I've got a couple people that I've talked to lined up that are super cool individuals. They do some really cool things with their dogs. We've gotten to where we're comfortable with the coon hounds, and even the guest that we had scheduled for tonight, he said, "Are people even going to listen to me talk since you're a coon hunting podcast?" I said, "We're not." We're not. I said, we've fallen into the trap, I said, we said from the very beginning we wanted to be diverse and talk about all dog sports, like all dog breeds, and I want to get back to that root and that foundation because we have got kind of comfortable and just went down the coonhound path. So my goal for 2025 is to branch out more, learn a little bit more, and hopefully other people will, just be exposed to other things. I went and checked some traps with my father-in-law earlier tonight before we did this, and he was telling me some stories of the Winter Classic way back in the day. And we're just driving down the road in the dark in his truck, and he's telling me these stories. I'm like, man, I need a microphone hooked up to this man right now. It's those untold stories, and it would be cool to do that. So, those would be the two goals: try to get some more of those stories, but also to branch out from coon hunting just a little bit.
And I think we could really, maximize it by doing those short little segments, and we could call it the Untold Stories at Semper Doggin. It doesn't even have to be like 20, 30 minute, I think, like I said, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pack my pod track around and just, even if it's a good 5-10 minutes, just a quick little segment just to record real quick. And then we could take, maybe once every couple months, or maybe once a month, we can release a Untold Stories, and then, something like that. And so, guys, as you can see, this is raw. Me and Bryce just kind of sitting here brainstorming, but that's definitely my thoughts on it. And being that this is our first year, I think we started out really, really strong. Really proud of how we started out. And then
for sure,
as things got more difficult, as you started your farm stuff up and just life in general, as things got crazy, Semper Doggin just kind of got put on the back burner. We've still been dedicated here. The last couple of weeks, we've kind of fallen off. But obviously, I want to get remotivated, get focused again on our content, and then so that's kind of my view from the past and the future of Semper Doggin. What would have been your favorite, since this is the 1 year anniversary? What is your favorite episode of all the ones that we've done?
Man, we didn't even script this stuff out. We didn't even talk about it. You're putting me on the spot.
I know it.
I would say The Written Houndsman with Lauren Brown was probably my favorite. There was a little bit more involvement as far as the production went. We really thought that one out. Talked to her, wanted her to tell that story of, or the short story that she wrote. We wanted her to read that before the podcast. We put some music behind it, went through the story with her, and just her whole process of becoming a houndswoman, and her love for dogs, and moving out west and coming back home, and the dog that was like her forever dog got real sick on her, and she's like, I'll never be able to replace that dog. And another dog that she had that was just kind of on the back burner like stepped up, and man, it was just really, really cool. And it was a heartfelt episode. There was no BS to it. There was no sugarcoating. Like, it was raw, and I had a couple people even message me like, dude, like, that podcast brought me to tears. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it was an emotional podcast. So I would say that The Written Houndsman, if you guys haven't heard that one, go back and check that one out.
Definitely. I think from an emotional standpoint, I think that's probably one of my favorite. I think from a knowledge standpoint, there's two that really stand out. And that's the one that we did with Brandon White from Next Level Performance Dog Food, and Hannah Falling. Just the knowledge. So, I mean, guys, I mean, I'm not trying to go there, but you're talking about two guys that are sitting here telling you that two of their favorite podcasts were the female hunters that we brought on this podcast. So, I mean, me and Bryce are no BS whenever we tell you that we are out to give credit and give the knowledge, or give the credit to the people that have the knowledge to share everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to actually pull up some analytics here while we're talking. So, tell me about Buzz. Let's hear a little bit about where Buzz is at, and then we're going to go back to some little analytics here for our first year.
Okay. Well, to kind of not to shy away from the Buzz thing real quick, but you asked me a few minutes ago, and we'll get to Buzz in a minute. You asked me a few minutes ago what I've been doing. So, we really haven't talked a lot since Christmas. So we had, obviously had our Christmas, had my birthday, here at the house, got slammed by that ice storm that we talked about. So did a little bit of hunting, which kind of, I guess, Buzz falls right into. So I'll just jump right into it then. Buzz, I got Buzz from Darren Wiseman. He's off of Rocky Pieces female.
Which female?
Somewhere stop. You had to ask me. I think it might be Diva.
Okay.
I think it's Diva. And Somewhere Stylish Coma.
Okay.
And I got him from Darren Wiseman March of last year, and Darren called me up and said, hey, I got this young pup. I don't really know what he is, and would you hunt him for me? I've hunted a lot of dogs for Darren. So I said I was down at E-Town, and I said no. So I really don't have the space or anything like that. And we got to talking, and he convinced me, hey, just take me up there for a week or two. He said, I trust your opinion on the dog. So I brought him up to E-Town, got him a place up there, and started hunting him. And right off the bat, he was just kind of what a normal pup is, one that's not really been pushed too hard. He'd go out, he'd come back. He'd go out, he'd come back. He'd tree a coon, he'd make a few slicks, he'd tree a possum, he'd run, he'd come back, he'd make a tree, he'd leave and come to me and then go back to the tree. So just puppiness. And I told Darren, I said, Darren, because here we are, we're talking March, and spring 1-year-olds was April. So I told Darren, I said, Darren, he's not, I mean, you didn't get hurt by no means, but he's nowhere near ready to compete at Super Stakes. So I ended up, me and Darren worked out a deal, and he ended up at my house, and I was hunting him. And man, me and him has been through the ups and downs. I mean, all the way from the point of treeing 2 and 3 possums a night to, treeing a few coons here and there. One thing I liked about the dog is you ever have that dog that he even on his bad nights, it's like, man, there's just something about this dog that I like. Like, I like this dog. Like, he's your buddy. He's smart, but in the woods, he'll pee you off. But outside the woods, you're like, man, this little dog is my buddy.
Yeah.
Like, he's my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, heck, Gordon, I got him from Gordon. How do you pronounce his last name?
Generic.
Yeah, there you go. I never can pronounce his last name. So I got him from Gordon, and Gordon taught him to sit. And so I'm not joking with you. The picture you've seen of Adrian and Buzz, I told him, I said, Buzz, sit. He sit right down and took that picture. But he's just smart. Like, I don't have to put a leash on him. Like, he's just a lovable dog. And you know me, I get frustrated with young dogs sometimes. Not as bad as you, but as far as to the point of, whenever it comes to hunting ability. So it really shocked me that this dog was so inconsistent. And I was still willing to put the time in. Usually I ship them down the road.
Right.
But just something just kept telling me. I mean, he moved around perfect, tied on the ground, but when he treed, he either had a possum or a coon. I mean, there was not much slick treeing going on. And we went through a spell where it was a lot of possums. I mean, there was one point where I swear I had the possum world champion. I'm not even joking.
I remember you making a post about that.
Yeah, I even made posts about it. So one thing led to another, and like all my young dogs, come time, I was like, you know what? I'm going to put Buzz up for sale. We had prior arrangements. I won't go into those, but we had prior arrangements, but they fell through. And so I said, you know what? I'm just going to put him up for sale. If he sells, I'll sell him. If not, whatever. I ain't worried about it. I put him up for sale, and a gentleman called me the very next day and said, I've been waiting on you to put that dog up for sale. And I said, what do you mean? He said, buddy, I've watched you ever since you got the dog. I've watched him tree all those possums, and I want that dog. And I said, so you know all about him treeing all these possums, and you still want him? He said, yep. He said, I like that dog. He said, I want him. And so me and him worked out a deal, and Fred Tennis bought Buzz, worked out a deal. He's going to stay here till Super Stakes. And who knows how long or how far that'll go outside of that. But me and Fred talk about every other day, and seems like I've never met him, but seems like a really fantastic guy, hardworking guy, just likes to coon hunt. And like I said, he really enjoys seeing Buzz on those live videos and getting to see him go. So, as well as I do, I get a lot of flack from people with how much live videos I post. And there's a reason behind it. One, there's always guys out there watching, and the minute I put one up for sale, they've already seen the dog go 50, 60 times. Two, a lot of those older guys that can't coon hunt no more. It's kind of like, if you join Hopkins County Coon Club, which I'm going to give them a shout out. Kevin Purdy and Daniel Nelson have created a club hunt down there it's 16 dogs. It's just like March Madness. It's 1-on-1. And so they have a dog of the month for November, December, January, and February.
Okay.
And actually December, January, February, March, because the first month they did it was December. And so it's $100, and the winner gets $1,200.
All right.
Yeah. So, fabulous way that they're putting on that hunt. Really, really enjoy it. And so one thing that's really nice about the way they're doing is every single hunt they go live.
Okay.
And those older guys that are not able to get out there and walk all the time, they absolutely love it. They're on there watching every single match. I mean, they just love it. So I really like making the content.
Right.
And, yes, there is benefit for myself. People see me hunting dogs. They want me to hunt their dog, blah, blah, blah. So, yes, there is benefit for me. But also on top of that is the older generation gets to see some action, gets to still live what they used to that they can't do no more. So, like I said, old Buzz went to Fred Tennis bought Buzz, and so now we'll see where it goes. I mean, I think if he continues the growth, I don't know. I have a hard time because I think if anybody else owned him, he'd done been in 3 or 4 or 5, 6, 7 big hunts.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just that type of guy. Like, when are they ready to go to the big hunts?
You never know.
I mean, but you know as well as I do. You watch these play-by-plays. You hunt with some of the biggest named dogs.
Yep.
I mean, not throwing any names out there, but I hunted with a dog on a Monday night. And Buzz treed 3, and that dog treed none. And that weekend, he won $20,000.
That's interesting because I saw a Facebook post of Platinum Ridge today talking about all they have is platinums. And
Well,
I chuckle. And it's all in good fun. Because literally, you can make a dog platinum champion in one night nowadays.
And that's what happened with him.
I know it is.
That's what happened with him.
I know. That's why I laughed. I just chuckled.
But my thing with that, though, is it's also about an entry fee. I mean, really, that's what it's about. It's about, and that's my problem is I guarantee if I called Fred right now, I said, hey, Fred, that $100,000 down in Mississippi, I want an early and I want a late. I guarantee you he'd buy it. But I guess I'm to the point of at what point is Buzz ready?
He's never going to be ready. You're never going to say that ready.
I know. And I mean, I took him this past weekend and we went 5 for 5 in PKC hunts.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I mean, and look good doing it. I mean, there was only one cast late round. Late round Saturday night. And I've never won a cast like this before. I actually won never getting struck in.
Oh, really? That's interesting.
It was just one of those. It was one of those nights. It was right before this snow and ice hit. Late round, nothing was moving. The other two dogs that I was hunting against, they struck 175. 6 caught them. They restruck in, and nothing happened. Buzz got a 1.45 behind the heel, and I couldn't hear him. He was treed, went in there and had a big ass injury. So, I mean, if I needed a coon, I wouldn't have won. But I mean, I didn't even get struck in.
Yeah.
And I mean, I ended up so.
You still have to make a scoreable tree, though, right?
No.
That's UKC. You got to make a scoreable tree with plus points.
No.
With plus points.
No. So it is PKC.
Okay.
It is PKC. So had one of those dogs made a circle tree, they could have had 600 minus, and they still beat me because they made a scoreable tree.
Okay.
But because no dog made a tree, that's why That's why I won that one. So,
Gotcha.
like I said, I mean, do I think that we're eventually just going to go? Yeah, probably. And who knows? There may be a room for another dog that just needs a little bit to make platinum.
Gonna make a comeback?
Might make a comeback.
Watch out. Watch out.
So
You heard
we'll
it here
see.
first on Semper Doggin.
We'll see. We'll see. There might be a special guest appearance at the Basham kennel.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So.
Yeah, I do. Man, you talk about platinums. I sat here eating dinner, or right before I ate dinner earlier, and I shook my head and I chuckled because I'm like, you can make a dog platinum champion in one night these days. Like that's it. You have to pay to play. You've got to pay that entry fee. But win one hunt, split the late round, bam, platinum. You know, like. What's the difference in winning the $35 hunt? It's just the entry fee, you know? Now, granted, there's probably a more consistent line of better dogs that are entered in the hunt. I understand that. But, man, like, there's just something about that to me, it takes the word platinum champion and does not... I've never owned one, so y'all don't burn me at the stake. I've never made one, never earned one. But it doesn't seem that special anymore. You know?
Yeah, and I get it. It's kind of twofold. So you can sit here and say, well, the guys back in the day, they ran up and down the roads and they made theirs. Why can't you do it now? I'm going to tell y'all, if you go to the open hunts religiously now, you're going to drive to just as many that don't have enough dogs or that is canceled than you will that have even enough dogs to hunt in. Like, I'm going to tell you. So I won a few, right? And so in my head, I'm like, you know what I'm thinking? The old mentality of truck hunt.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I get on PKC and I'm like, where's the hunts at? Guess what?
Ain't got one.
There isn't any anymore around me.
Mm-hmm.
There's not. Grandview don't have them. Tell City don't have them. Princeton, for some reason, don't have them for a couple months.
Yeah, I mean, I was talking to Dick Brothers the other night when we were hunting, and I asked him. I said, Dick, what to you would be, it was a two-part question. What to you would be more special, a platinum champion or a Hall of Fame champion? And he said platinum champion. I said, all right. Why? He said, it's something about saying that your dog won $20,000. You know, that would feel special. I said, okay, I can get behind that. I said, which one of those is harder to do? He said, Hall of Fame champion all day long. Because, you know, in UKC to make this is just talking points, you know. In UKC, to make a Hall of Fame, you have to win 50 casts. 50 casts. It don't matter what they're for. The dog has to be entered 50 times to make and win to be Hall of Fame. And a platinum, you can go enter them one time. Win your 20,000, you're done.
Yeah. So here's what I'll tell you about that, though. Not throwing any shade, but it is what it is. I know of certain clubs that have, I want to say you're allowed to have 6 or 7. Let's just say 7 UKC hunts, right? Double headers.
Like per year, per month? What are you talking?
Per year.
Okay.
Per year. So that's 7 at their club. So that's 14 hunts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't draw anybody. So one dog, you enter one dog, and what's that dog automatically get? We know what they're supposed to do.
Right.
They're supposed to go out and trick him.
Right.
But we also ain't stupid. I mean, we all know what happens. So That's 14. Let's say someone shows up half the time. I mean, you get where I'm coming from.
Right.
Like, you literally, in a lot of those, you literally don't have to beat anybody and you get a win.
So even if you did it at 14 hunts a year, it would take you 3.5 years to make a platinum champion.
But that's just that home club. That's if you
I'm saying that's all you went. Yeah. I don't know. It's an interesting talking point. Like, it'd be interesting to know what everybody else thinks because I don't know.
And here's it's a caveat. It's kind of a catch-22 because if you took your entry fees for 50 hunts or however, because you're not winning them all.
Right. No, you're not.
If you kept up with how much the entry fee was for those 50 hunts and how much the gas was, what kind of entry fee could you have bought?
No, let's
put that dog in.
Let's just do the math. And let's just say that you've won every hunt you entered.
No, if you win 50%, you're doing great. So
you're at $35 hunt. You're at $3,500 entry fees.
And let's just say $50 a hunt for, no, 25 a hunt because a lot of those are going to be double headers. So let's just say 25 a hunt for gas.
You're at $6,000 for an entry fee total.
So you go to a $6,500 hunt.
Yep.
So I guess I kind of persuaded myself back to, I guess it's easier, you are right, to do the platinum just because of the longevity part.
Right.
I think competition-wise, it's easier to get Hall of Fame. Because tell me this. Do you know any hunting Hall of Fame dogs?
Yes.
Would you pay the $6,500 to put them in a hunt?
At their age right now, no. Back in the day, I think you would have had a chance.
But you get where I'm coming from.
I do, yeah. I think the dog's like
of those,
9 years old now, just turned or just turned to Hall of Fame.
How many of those Hall of Fame dogs, not going to say could compete because, man, you know as well as I do. I'm not saying because the same dogs, I mean, the dogs that run the circuit, they're coon dogs.
Right.
I mean, there ain't no ifs, ands, buts about it. You miss a coon and you're done. I mean, but we've also seen it to where somebody go by a 3-year-old that's never been in a hunt, somebody that's willing to push one, and boom, they go on a roll and they win 30, 40, 50,000 with the dog. And where's the dog been? He's been back behind the barn or not being hunted.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom, 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 boom. I mean, I'll give you an example. And she done plenty of winning. Don't get me wrong. The dog that I'm about to mention, she did plenty of winning in UKC. And a little bit when they would take her in PKC. But look at Ann when J.R. Gray had her.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Did quite a bit of winning, but she didn't do the money winning.
Well, she wasn't entered in the big hunts that she is now.
And then Strickland gets her, and then now, truck winner, this winner, that winner. I mean, it's just the dog's got to be given the opportunity, and I think you'll agree. I mean, it's kind of like for me, the buddy dog that I run. If I had unlimited funds pushing that dog, there's no doubt in my mind he'd be over 100,000 earnings.
Right.
I mean, no doubt in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be over 100,000 earnings. Easy. If I was able to go to any hunt I wanted to go to easy over $100,000 earnings.
Yep.
I mean, he's sitting at 19, and all we've ever went to is $300 and $400, $500 pro classics.
You hit one good lick.
Yeah, I hit one good lick. I did. I forgot the very first one.
Yep.
I hit one good. I hit a $5,000 lick. We went to that first $100,000 hunt.
Yep.
And that, but so 14,000 of his 19 has come from the small pro classics.
Right.
And then he's won, I think, 8,000 in pro sport, and all of those were from $300 and $500 pro classics too.
Yeah.
So, and I know you feel the same way about wheels.
Mm-hmm. I do.
What I mean?
I tell people all the time, I wish that I could afford to give him the opportunity that he deserves. You know, and it's a catch-22. It's like, okay, man, I love that dog. Like, I love him to death. He's my buddy, like coon tree and fool. But man, I'd love to see the dog get an opportunity to go. You know, I'd love to see him get a chance to be pushed. It's not going to happen at my house. You know, I am not paying those entry fees. I don't have the funds to do it. I'm not. But I also know that if I weren't to sell him, like, all he's going to be is the dog that goes to the $100, $250 hunts, you know. The dog's I've never put him in a hunt over $150. I lied. I put him in one $500 pro sport hunt. He was paying out $25,000, and we got caught in a monsoon, and we stood in the same place for 2 hours, and nobody moved. We had a dead cast. That was the one time I come off some money and put him in a hunt.
Well, you didn't have a dead cast.
Do what?
You didn't have a dead cast.
No, we got scratched. Our cast never made it back in time for deadline. Nobody treated coon. Nobody could catch their dogs. Right. We didn't have nothing.
Who was the winner? His face and his name's right there. I know. I just can't. I've seen the guy somewhere, and he told me, he said, yeah, I'm the one that won that cast.
Nobody won my cast.
Somebody won it. They just didn't make it back to the club in time.
The guy who was hunting Tia was on the cast. He won Autumn Oaks.
It wasn't Cody Sipe, was it?
I had Cody Sipes and Levi Espasti, and I forget who the fourth dog was. But, dude, I'm telling you, we never treated coon. We didn't do nothing. Levi made 2 circle trees, and then they got...
But Levi won the cast, didn't he?
I guess. I withdrew. Yeah. I withdrew. I don't know.
Yeah, Levi, that's who it was. That's what I stayed with him up at the AKC World. Now it's all coming back to me. And he told me that he won that cast, but he didn't make it back by deadline.
It was pouring rain sideways. You couldn't see it was flooded on the roads. Nope. I mean, they cut the dogs loose. I was like, I'm out of this. Like, y'all have fun. But they cut the dog across the field and it was flooding. They were swimming.
Not bringing that night up, but that night we seen 13 coons sitting up and we didn't tree a single one.
That's terrible. Yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
But going back to what you were saying, I mean, I know that you hunt with some dogs that have over $100,000, $200,000 in earnings all the time.
Yep.
And so you get to hunt wheels against that caliber of dog. And I'm not saying that, Wills is going to go in there and, he's going to win, even 60% of his cast. But to think that Wheels couldn't go in there, slide into a $6,500 hunt and win a night or two, if he was given the opportunity. I mean, I think he's got all the capabilities in the world to do it.
Yeah, he does. And I do. I mean, I get to hunt with some really, really nice dogs up here that are getting pushed all over the country. And Wheels is competitive. I mean, he holds his own. Don't get me wrong. There's nights where he gets throttled and there's nights where he does the throttling. Like, it's just a back and forth, But the perfect example is like our buddy Colton Britton, He took that Owen dog out of little money and he got a wild hair up his butt and he got a $6,500 entry fee. And he said, all right, I'm going. He got Kai Roberts to handle him. And guess what? He got in one night, Like, okay, good for him. Yeah, and that's just a dog who doesn't go to very many big hunts. He's just not. So it can be done. I mean, anybody can do it if you want to gamble. That's what it is. It's a gamble. I'm just not into it. But hey, let's go back to some analytics here. I've got the top 3 podcasts from our first year pulled up. Can you name any of the top 3?
Ooh, so I'm gonna say that none of the ones that we said were top 3. So
no, the closest one that I said, the Written Houndsman, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sixth on the list is the Written Houndsman.
What about? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, what about the Battle of the Brides with Wayne Leverett?
Yes. So that is titled Huge Pro Sport Announcement, Moon Pies and Chicken Thighs.
Yes, sir. What number is that?
That is number 1. Can you guess numbers? Can you guess numbers 2 and 3?
I doubt it, but
the top 3 episodes are separated only by 20 downloads.
Let's see here. So if Moon Pies and Chicken Thighs was number 1, would number 2? I'm just gonna roll right on. Would number 2 be the follow up?
It was not.
When we announced the big dog.
Nope.
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 All right, one more. I ain't got one in my mind.
Okay.
Shoot.
Number 2 was Jason Himes and Chad Spradlin. National Champs, Autumn Oaks, and Split Tree and Trigger was the episode.
I forgot about that one.
Okay, now, I will say, the episode for our first year that slides into number 3 in all-time downloads comes as a surprise to me. I will say that. I did not expect this to be at the top. It is the episode titled Chad McCoyne, Black River, Black and Tans.
Okay.
So there's only 20 downloads separating number 1 and number 3. I thought those were interesting statistics. And like I said, I did not expect the Chad McCoyne episode to be number 3, but Black Dog was slid in.
I wouldn't have either. Just because the reason why I think that the Moon Pies and Chicken Thighs really won was, the following that Lane gets, but also because it was a announcement for Pro Sport.
Yep.
So I think that really helped. And then also with Trigger being a national champion, that helped push him up. But I would agree the one with Chad McCoyne, just because you're not talking about a specific huge win or a huge event. Right.
It's literally just showcasing his line of dogs, his line of black dogs.
Yeah. Yes. So
I agree.
Hey, that's a big shout out to Chad and everything that he's accomplished, with his line of dogs, is that he's, just talking about him and his line of dogs, he's third.
Yep.
On the analytics. So that's pretty cool.
It is cool. Man, I really wish my kids would quit running in and out of here and shutting that door. That's driving me crazy. All right. Let's talk a couple other things coming up. The PKC World Qualifiers that are coming up.
Yes, sir.
I got me a hired handler for the first time.
Look out, guys.
And let me tell you something. I called PKC yesterday and confirmed that entry, and Brandy Fields goes, "Oh boy, you're scraping the bottom of the barrel there."
So my buddy Bryce called me up and he said, "I've got a dilemma." I said, "What is it?" He said, "I am flying to Florida to be in a wedding the weekend of PKC World Qualifiers." He said, "What are you hunting?" And I said, take your pick. I've got Buddy I can hunt. I've got Spot I can hunt. Buzz I can hunt. No, Buzz I can't hunt because I didn't win nothing last year with him. So I just Bryce has always been there for me whenever I needed him to handle a dog. Specifically, Friday night of Autumn Oaks, he let Nikki handle Wills, and he took old Spot out and handled. So, it's always been in my head that, obviously we're not friends that we need to repay each other. But I told him, I said, you know what? It kind of worked out perfect because he's going to be flying out of Evansville.
Yep.
So he's, that's the only thing I told him. I said, man, if we did do this, how the heck would I even get the dog? And he said, would you know it? I'm actually flying out of Evansville. So I've got to drive down there anyways.
Yep.
And then I'm leaving on Sunday to go home. And so it worked perfect. He's coming down anyways. So I said, go ahead, bring Wills down. And I will take him to Junction, Illinois on Friday and Saturday. And hopefully it's just Friday and we can double up and then move him on to Friday night at the World.
Absolutely, man. Like that's super exciting for me. Like, obviously I'd love to hunt the dog myself, but to know that he's not going to have to sit out, like it's nice. Like you said, we're not friends that have to repay each other for nothing. It never has been, never will be like that. But it's like, it was so nice to be able to call you and be like, hey, I'm in a dilemma. Can you help? And it's like, yep, sure can. Because I actually triple booked myself for that weekend. And how I did that, I don't know. I got the wedding I'm in Florida, the PKC World Qualifiers, and then I was actually supposed to work a trade show for work in Indianapolis that weekend. I've triple booked. I'm like, oh boy. Like, I'm in a mess. So, man, I'm pumped, though, because here's where I'm hoping.
Hold up real quick. So this was told to me. One day a while ago, might have been or might have not have been Thanksgiving night, that I needed to get with your secretary prior to the events and make sure that I book going hunting on Thanksgiving night, that I didn't get with your secretary long enough. So I think because you triple booked, I think your secretary needs fired.
I agree. She probably does. 100%. We're gonna do that after this podcast. I'm gonna go ahead and go fire her. But
let me know how that goes. I'm sure there'll be a grievance filed immediately.
Absolutely. She'll go find her committeeman. No, but so what I was getting at with like the paying each other back, like I'm hoping that karma just goes ahead and does it for us, The last time you asked me to hunt a dog, not the last time.
Oh, here we go.
The last time Basham said, "Hey, like I got too many dogs to hunt. Like, can you please help me out in a pinch? I'm struggling to find somebody to handle the dog." I was like, "You know what, Basham? We're good buddies, and I will do that for you. I will hunt a dog for you." And wouldn't you know it, we went on and got 5th in the world that year. So I'm hoping, Basham, that not only will you have the same good karma and fortune that I was blessed with, I'm hoping that it rains down on you and you succeed and do better than I did, because that's the kind of friend that I am for you. I want you to do better than me.
I never saw that dog again. He went on the for sale block.
Oh my goodness gracious!
He went on the for sale block, and now he's
on Platinum Ridge.
Now he's won 145, 150,000.
It's wild, isn't it?
Wow, I remember that pup when he was 12 months old.
It's so wild.
I hated that dog.
Yeah, but like I said,
I hate all of them that age.
I'm just that kind of guy and that kind of friend. I'm hoping you all the fame, fortune, and good blessings that can come your way.
And see, that's always my dilemma. Is for me, it's not even just that hunt. It's
Super
it's going to
Stakes.
be national. No, Super Stakes. Actually, I helped myself out. Star got sold. So
Good.
now all I've got is Buzz.
Gotcha.
So that kind of helped me out with, you already know my dilemma. My dilemma is I've got 2 dogs, and I'll tell anybody, and it don't matter. Bryce knows me. I'm pretty confident in my dog's ability. Spot and Buddy both can go to any hunt tonight and win any hunt. It's just, that's just what it is. They're proven, both of them, either one of them. I'm not saying they're the best. I'm saying that either one of them can go to any hunt and compete and win any hunt that you put them in.
Right.
And so giving them that opportunity, it's kind of the ones that really stink is like Friday night at Autumn Oaks, where they both have to hunt.
Yep.
Because the problem is, and Bryce will attest to this, and hopefully Wills is not like this, but Spot does not handle for anybody right now. And I'm not saying he couldn't. I think it would take someone taking Spot and hunting him and getting him used to him. Same way with Buddy. Buddy just doesn't act the same. Like Mark hunted him. And don't get me wrong, Mark done a great job with him. But it's like having Wills. Wills will hunt for anybody, but he will give an extra for you.
Right. And it's been a while since he's hunted for anybody other than me, you know? I mean, between me and Nikki and Colton, like anybody other than our family, he hasn't been shipped around a bunch. You know, he had that one little stint there where he went to Cosselman's for a week. You know, Brandon loved him the first 3 nights that he had him and hated him the last 3 that he had him. So, is what it is. Yep. We'll find out.
So we'll see, but that's what I'm getting at. Is for me, the bigger hunts are just kind of a dilemma because I've got a couple different dogs that I could push. But back to the original thing at hand, you know, Bryce called me and there was no question. You know, it's something I know that during the week-long world hunt, I can find a way to get over there and hunt the 2 that I have. So me thinking numbers-wise, if I give Wheels 2 nights, give Spot 2 nights, and Buddy 2 nights, they all get the same amount of opportunity.
That's a fair shake for everybody. So
that's kind of my plan. But kind of going full circle since we've kind of rambled on pretty nice on this one. Bryce called me.
Yeah. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about. Hold on. Before I called you, let's talk about the situation that you're currently in. I mean, Basham's in the middle of a gosh darn ice storm. No power. But he's sitting here recording a podcast with power. And I was mind blown by this.
Everybody on my road has power. Everybody. I will not have power for a very long time. A limb fell on so for those that are in the electrical field and ask me, how come your electric line is still overhead and not ran underground like everybody else's? It's because the electric company that I belong to will not allow me to go under because my transformer for my house is across the road. And because of the trees, it literally sits right on the road. And so they don't want to go into trying to bore under the road because they would have to get out of way because underneath the asphalt, it's not straight down. The road doesn't go straight down the asphalt. It kind of goes out.
Right.
It builds up. And so what I was told is they would have to go out at least 8 to 10 foot, and you can't because there's an embankment on the other side with trees and everything else. So they told me that boring under the road and bringing the power underground is not an option for me. Lucky me. So during this ice storm, a limb fell. It ripped the neutral out of the transformer and a phase off of my line. So I've got one. It's still, as of right now, it's still hot. A vehicle can literally, on my side of the road, drive and their radio antenna would hit the wire
That's
hanging
scary.
down. Like, I'll post some pictures in a little bit. Me and Jocelyn were out cleaning up. It literally looks like a tornado went through my yard.
Mm-hmm.
We spent about 5 hours and I'm not talking one by one. I'd roll up with a four-wheeler, which I ran her over with a four-wheeler today.
God, good job, Dad.
So this will go all into my current situation. So we went without power. So I've never been one to get a generator. Where I live I live close enough to town. We're probably in zone 1 of the substation, zone 2, because we literally never lose power. I mean, we just don't. It's like right now, like I said, everybody on my road has power. So we don't. I just live close enough to town and close enough to the substation that we just don't lose power. So I don't ever have a generator. We lost power from a tornado this past year for like maybe 4 or 5 hours. So this is a part that fascinates Bryce, guys.
It does, 100%. Listen up now. Take notes.
So at the time, Bryce called me and he said, "Hey, what's going on? I haven't talked to you, blah, blah, blah." And I told him, just trying to keep the house up and warm since we don't have power. He said, "Crap." And he said, "You ain't got power?" He said, "It's going to get cold." I said, "No, I'm still running my heater." And he goes, "Well, how are you running your heater if you don't have power?" And I told him, I said, "Well, actually, I'm running it off of my truck."
Hold on. No. He said, "Don't you know, son? I'm an electrician. I make power."
Actually, I did. I told him, I said, "I'm an electrician. I make power." And he said, "Well, how did you make power?" And I said, "Well, I'm running my house off my truck." And he said, "Nah, what?" And he did like a double take. Like, he even had to go get his dad so he could have a witness.
I did.
To what I was about to say.
Yeah, my parents were up here. We had just got back from Grand American. They'd watched the kids for 5 days for us, so my parents were staying one more night up here. I said, "Dad," I said, "Hold on." I said, "Listen to this." I said, "Bash was talking crazy."
So, I'll tell everybody. What I did was, a while back, I went to O'Reilly's and I bought me a 4,000 watt inverter. And all an inverter is it takes direct current and turns it into alternating current, AC. It takes DC, turns it into AC. So the one that I have is a big one. It's got 4 110 outlets. It's got double power negative cables. So what you do is start your truck up and you put your negatives on your negatives. You put your which I'm different. And for those out there that don't know, when you jump a vehicle, you're not supposed to put the black on the negative of the battery. You put it on the ground post of your vehicle where it's grounded, not on the battery. So I took my black, put it on the ground post, put my positive. Now I'm pushing power to my inverter, and I took a number 8. No, that's number 10. I took a number 10 heavy duty extension cord, and I cut the female end off of it. So I wired a male end onto it. So now I've got a 40-foot number 10 heavy duty extension cord with 2 male ends. I plug one male end into the inverter, and I run the extension cord through the window. And here's the part that Bryce was like, "What?" I plug it in to a receptacle in the kitchen. So, if you're thinking about it in layman's terms.
Now, before you plug it, hold on. Before you plug it in, you got to have all your breakers and your main turned off, right?
Yes, I'll get to that point.
Okay.
So in layman's terms, regular power, think of it like this. Power comes from the pole outside your house, comes into your house, into your panel box, through your main, down in two buses down into your panel, and each bus in your panel, it feeds whatever breakers you have, right?
Yep.
So what we're going to do, guys, is we're going to go backwards. Now, do not do this unless you call somebody and know what you're doing, because you literally, one, you can burn your house down. Two, and this is the most important, you can kill somebody. You can kill a lineman if you don't do it correctly. Because when you're pushing that voltage back, if you do not have the main shut off, and that lineman goes and climbs up that pole, and you're pushing power backwards, what's going to happen?
Zip, zap.
Yes. And if he's that far up in the air, who knows? He falls. Because, 110 is not going to kill you, but you just never know. You just never know. So I'm telling you guys what I did. Do not take it upon yourself to do what I did without knowing what you're doing. So what I did is I went to my panel. I shut off the main. I undid the neutral, taped it up, because anybody that knows, the breaker does not cut the neutral. It just cuts the hot feed coming into your panel. So I took the neutral out. So now I've got a extension cord that has a male end that is plugged into my inverter. So now my inverter is my source of power. I bring it in through the window. I plug it into the receptacle. When I plug it into that receptacle, think of just breaking it down Barney style. If I plug it into a receptacle, everything that receptacle is connected to now has power. So it runs all the way back to the panel. And whatever side that breaker is on, all of the breakers that are on that phase, that bus, is going to have the same power. So I shut all my breakers off, everything. I turn on the breaker for the receptacle that I'm plugged into. So what does that allow it to do? It's just like a light switch. I've got power coming into the breaker, and it stops because I've got that breaker turned off. I turn that breaker on, and now that power's on that bus. So I turn that breaker on, and I turn my furnace breaker on because I am lucky. I have gas heat. All I need to do is run the blower for the gas furnace. That's all I need to do. The controls and the burner, which is 15 amps, that's all I need to run. So I turn the furnace on, and I turn the receptacle, the ones that I have on. Well, 4,000 watts, you're only looking at 110, you're only looking at like 25, 30 amps. So me being an electrician, I know, hey, you know what? I still got quite a few amps that I could use. So basically what I did is I ran my refrigerator, I ran my furnace, I ran the living room and the kitchen lights, and that's all I turned on. And so for the first day or two, that's what we ran off of my truck.
I thought that was so cool. Literally powering the house with the truck.
So don't get me wrong. I'm burning gas because your truck's got to stay running because the alternator is the one doing the job. And yes, it is harder on your alternator, but in a pinch, which I was in, because we're talking 20-degree weather. I don't want my kids to freeze. I don't want the house to freeze.
Yep.
So in a pinch, I said, you know what? This is what we're going to do. Well, now that we are, and there's two different ways you can do what I'm about to tell you to do. Now that I know that we're going to be a little bit more longevity in this, I went out and purchased a generator. Now, there's two ways you can do this. You can there's three ways you can do it. You can do it the 100% right way, which is, a disconnect, blah, 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 a transfer switch. So you can do it the right way, or there's two other ways you can do it. It kind of is all depending on the layout of your electrical box. It just so happens that my electrical box is right in front of the meter, which is right next to my house. And I've already got a conduit, which is a box coming out of the meter because it runs electric down to my dog kennels. So all I did is I just opened up the cover, brought the wire from the generator into my electrical panel, unhooked my 30 amp double pole breaker for my AC, plugged in my generator, which my main and my neutral's already shut off and unplugged. Turn on that, and now because that one is 75,000 or 7,500 watts, I'm literally running my whole house. Like, the wife just cooked on the stove. I've got hot water. We just ran the dryer. Like, I mean, we're other than hearing the buzzing in the background. I mean, don't get me wrong. If I tried to run everything at once, it wouldn't do it. But as long as I have it in my head, hey, we're running the stove, we can't run the hot water. Or, hey, we're running the hot water, we can't run the dryer. And I just keep, hey, if she says, hey, I need to run the dryer, I'll go over to the breaker box and I know what we need to run. But another way that you can do it is you put the twist lock 240 plug on it, plug it into the generator. On the other end of it, you put a dryer plug. Put that plug, unplug your dryer, put that plug into the dryer plug, go to your panel, shut everything off, turn on your dryer breaker box, or turn on your dryer breaker, and that produces 240 to the whole panel. So now you can pick and choose what you want to run on that generator.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
So all you're doing is just backfeeding into the house.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought like my grandma, she's got a generator at the house. If something goes wrong, just plug the generator in, fire it up, good to go. Yeah, that's great. But I've never thought about using your vehicle as a generator. I'm like, man, that's pretty slick in a pinch. So
yeah, in a pinch, you can literally. Now, here's where I would have been screwed. If I had an electric heat, it wouldn't have worked.
Right.
You need about a 10,000 watt. Even the one I have right now probably wouldn't work on an electric furnace. You need about 9 or 10,000 watt generator to run an electric furnace.
Yeah, but I mean, somebody can plug in a couple space heaters and stuff and stay, maybe not comfortable, but you ain't gonna freeze to death.
For me, if I was in a pinch, rather than use space heaters, this is just me, and I understand they do put off a little bit of a smell, but if it was me, I would run everything else that I need, the hot water, everything else, and I would use kerosene heaters in a pinch.
Yeah,
because I'm telling you, those electric space heaters, man, they draw. It's like a big hair dryer, and if you know anything about hair dryers, they'll be the first thing to pop an outlet.
Yep.
They'll be the first thing to pop a receptacle, a breaker. You have to go to the dang breaker box and flip because the wife done tried to use a curling iron and a freaking hair dryer all at the same time while she's trying to microwave, and it pops a breaker. Happens all the darn time because they pull so many amps. And those space heaters, they're not much better. So for me, I like to do, if I was in a pinch, I would do kerosene.
Yep.
Is what I would do.
Yep. All right, buddy. Well, hey, like I said, this has been fun. I've appreciated this last year, man. It's been a good time. I'm ready to see what 2025 has in store.
Yeah, like I said, just getting back at it. You going to Winter Classic?
I am. Yep, be down there, Batesville, Mississippi. I'll be there.
I'm not sure. I have not thought that far. I would say it would not surprise me if I was at the $100,000 hunt.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I can't see past tomorrow because of that. Because of everything going on in my life right now.
I hear you.
I don't really know don't really know what next week holds. So we're just trying to take it one day at a time, and hopefully they'll get power back on and we can start the cleanup. Because you'll see, I'm gonna post pictures in a little bit. Me and Jocelyn worked for like 4 or 5 hours, and we didn't even make a dent.
Yeah, man, that's rough. But
it's gonna be a big cleanup. But I appreciate you, bud. Appreciate all your hard work, all your dedication. I appreciate your friendship. Great, in my opinion. I guess maybe monetarily, I could have thought of us going a lot further, as far as making it a business. But from a friendship side of it, I don't think this podcast could have went any better.
No, absolutely not. And we left ourselves with some pretty lofty goals there whenever we first started. And like you said, I mean, we said from the beginning, this whole thing was just two guys having fun, talking dogs, and that's what we've done. We've held true to that. Could we have pushed it a little harder, done some more things to make it more professional and business-like? Absolutely, we could have. Is that out of the question down the road? No, it's not. But right now, this is fun what we're doing. And some people say we just get on here and ramble back and forth. Yeah, that's fine. My wife says the same thing. But some people really enjoy it, and so that's where it's at for me. I really enjoy the Doggin Tuesdays. Those are fun. I've just had a lot of fun doing this. So, always dogging, Semper Doggin. It means a lot to both of us.
Definitely.
All right, buddy. Well, I'm gonna wrap this thing up, and I'm gonna go take care of my farm animals because it's 19 degrees, pitch black, dark outside, and I still got chores to do. So.
Yeah, I took care of all of mine. That's why I was a little bit late getting on here.
Yeah, I still got goats to feed and cows to water and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna go get that done and get me some sleep.
I'm gonna get me some dinner.
10-4, buddy. All right, well, guys, from Bashman and I here at Semper Doggin, we appreciate everything you guys do for us. We appreciate all you listeners tuning in here every other week and joining us on the Doggin Tuesdays over on Facebook Live. Thanks for letting us ramble on here a little bit today. Talk about our year in review. Tell you a little bit about how to save yourself in a pinch. All here from Semper Doggin. Full disclosures, don't do anything crazy that you shouldn't do. We are not responsible for any of your actions. So, with that...
Thank you for that.
With that, we are off of here. We'll see you guys later.
Later.